Welcome. This is the Bible.org app, and I'm going to show you how to use some of the features. This is part 2. So if I don't cover the features you're interested in this video, feel free to go and watch part 1. In this video, we're going to talk about the features sharing, using the verse study, and using the notes feature. Let's start with learning how to share a verse. As you're reading through your parallel Bible, you may come across a verse that you'd like to share. You can share it directly to a person, or you can share it to social media. To find the verse menu where you share from, tap the verse, anywhere in the verse. This is the verse menu. Now you can see there it gives you options of how you'd like to share. Well, I'm going to show you how to share to Facebook. Post this verse to Facebook. I'm going to tap there, and since I'm signed in to Facebook on this device already, it goes right to the preview screen. If I'm not signed in, it'll look like this. And I will simply put in my email and password, and I'm logged in. So now I can say OK, and I can share that verse image to Facebook. I can even add a comment. Now I want to show you how to do a verse study. In the last video, we talked about how to do a word study. We're now going to look at how to study the whole verse, looking at all the Greek words contained in that verse. A more in-depth study. I'm going to tap the verse to get the verse menu, and now I'm going to tap verse study. That's going to bring up, by default, the window that has the text in it of the verse, as well as the Greek verse study. This has all of the Greek words contained in that verse. There are other features I can turn on and off in this verse study. To get the settings, I'm going to tap the settings button in the verse study. Now this is how I'd like to set up my verse study. If I want the various links, if I want color-coded parts of speech, for example, verbs are red, nouns are blue, adjectives have a blue underline, showing translation tips on how to translate those, the different forms of the Greek words, how to the phonetics, how to pronounce each Greek word with the various types of pronunciations, and the different type of bars to separate the syllables. Got some in-depth stuff here to help you in your verse study of this Greek verse. So you can adjust those settings and go on to the next verse by scrolling up or tapping the next verse, the arrow there. And if I want to go into a word study of one of these words in the verse, I can simply tap the word. And that pulls up that Greek word study while I'm doing the verse study. If you're done doing with the word study window, I can tap the X in the word study so I can get rid of diakosune, and that'll bring back up the verse. If I'm done with my verse study, I can then X that out, and I'm left with just the text in my parallel Bible. So that's a little bit how to do a verse study. Let's talk about taking notes. I can add a note from the verse menu, which is what I get from simply tapping the verse. See there, add note. I can also add a note by tapping the pencil in the top right. This is a feature that does only work if you are signed in to the app. So let's first talk about signing in. Go to the settings button in the top right. If you're not signed in, it'll ask you if you want to sign in right there. And either if you already have a login for thebible.org, you can sign in using your login. And if you're new, you can simply create a login for thebible.org. And once you're signed in, you can now save your settings. So if I set my versions, for example, now that I'm logged in, my app will remember my versions, so I don't have to reset them every time I come back to my Parallel Bible. Whether I've added Catholic versions or other Protestant versions or other language versions, they'll be there when I come back to the app. And I can also now do what we started talking about here, take a note. So I'm going to tap the pencil, how to add a note. Oh, okay, that tells me that I can tap on the device. And it's only going to work, the note will only work if I'm in landscape mode. Okay, I get it. That's a helpful tool there. So if I am in portrait mode, I'm not going to be able to add the note. Do you see how the pencil goes away? Come back to landscape mode, and now I can take my note. Add a note. I'm going to display a note only when I have a note for that verse. I'm going to display the whole note, and I want to save my preferences. For those of you who are pastors that have folks you'd like to share your Bible notes with, you can learn about how to do that here at this link. Okay, so now here are some notes that I've taken on these verses, and now they're showing. I could choose to only show part of the note for that verse if I'd like to, but I wanted to add a note here to verse 16. And there I've added my note. Awesome verse. July 2017. If I prefer to not have that note listed anymore, I can tap the little trash can in the bottom right. You want to delete this note? Okay. And there it's gone. And if I'm done with my notes column, just tap the note-taking settings, and I'm going to hide the notes column for now. Remember, if you are in portrait mode, you're not going to be able to take notes. So you'll need to turn your device like this, long ways, for landscape mode. There are a bunch of features here with the Bible.org app. We hope you enjoy studying the scriptures. And remember, if you have any questions, you can always tap your question mark up in the top right. You can contact support. You can get some built-in tools here. You can check out our YouTube channel. And feel free to write a review. And if we've earned it, a 5-star review in your app store would be much appreciated in helping get out this great tool. Enjoy studying and learning the scriptures with the Bible.org app.